Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Be beat to the line for the first time this season. However, they've both built up a healthy lead. Even though we're only at the halfway point, it'll take a big push to run them down in time. Let's see what today holds in store as we get ready to watch round 5 of the PRL GT series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beer. First up for the GT4M series is Lime Rock Park. Familiar to pretty much every iRacer on the roadside, it may need a little bit more of an introduction for our audience. Let's head to our track guide to learn more. Welcome to Lime Rock Park. Located in the northwest corner of Connecticut, this unassuming little track has garnered a surprisingly passionate following. Its unique aspects create a circuit not only full of character, but consistently challenging even to modern race cars. While it has 4 different possible layouts, on the classic version, only 7 corners are split along a 1.5 mile track, with just a single one of them turning left. Though simple in appearance, most drivers will tell you that trying to be fast here is anything but. The run down the front stretch into Big Bend offers pretty much the only viable passing spot, but it's a double apex right-hander which lures drivers into taking it too fast. The uphill is also scary quick considering its lack of runoff, and can sometimes cause cars to get airborne over its crest. Then, on the opposite end, the downhill sends cars diving into a quick sweeper, which requires a good exit speed in order to defend or attack back into the first corner. Modern racing mostly uses the more recently built chicanes, especially at the uphill. But one of the most unusual facts about this track is that the races are never held on Sunday. Due to a legal agreement with a nearby church, events must take place on Fridays and Saturdays. The confines around this place are tight, the passing opportunities are few, and mistakes are usually punished with race-ending damage. With most other road courses now being built with upwards of 3 and 4 miles in length, this track stands out. But in an age of multi-million-dollar facilities and flashy buildings, this quaint small circuit manages to keep fans coming back with its intimate and grassroots setting. AJ. It's going to be a bit of a bull ring tonight here at Lime Rock Park, but most of the drivers should at least have experience here.
They really should. Lime Rock is one of the earliest circuits that a lot of drivers pop onto on the iRacing simulator. It's a very, very simple track, if I'm honest, only about 7 turns, but that doesn't mean it's not without its difficulties. The main overtaking zone we're going to see, especially in these lower power GT4s, is going to be going into that turn 1, that long right-hander. But remember that the ability to fight back through there is going to be very helpful. The other thing they're going to have to watch out for is the elevation change all over this track. Yes, these cars are very heavy. They do like to suck into the ground a little bit, but the lack of downforce means that they may find a little bit of rise and run in the suspension. So they're going to have to be very careful to watch out for that.
No doubt about that. Well, as we get ready to go over the racing, first, let's talk about our sponsors. Of course, our broadcast is brought to you by ASR, owned and operated by passionate sim racers. Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you improve your driving skills with modern overlays, race statistics, native VR integration. You can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it today for free at RaceLab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
Today's event is also brought to you by SimMSA. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring everyone together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsport at SimRacing or at SimMSA.net.
And finally, the PRL GT Series is also brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. Now, as for those GT4 points, as I mentioned, Robbie Campbell, with his 3 wins, still has a pretty handy gap back to Michaud, who's still looking for a win. It was Dobmeyer who took victory at Chicago last week, but he's not even within the top 5 in the points. There it gets a little tight. Robertson and Bergquist are very close between 3rd and 4th, and then a little bit of a jump back to Calhoun rounds things out. We'll see if today shakes things out, but in the meantime, let's take a look at the team's championship.
Well, Joe, in that team's championship, PRL Director Team holding out strong there with a 1-point advantage over GT Moore, with Piltdown's Punks a way far back, 59 points. They're on an island of their own. Parabola Racing, well far back from them, but they've got Team Kodak Rhino looking down their shoulders. So very much a story of 3 different battles here.
Indeed. And for today's race details, of course, we have a 40-minute round with 3 different GT4 class cars to choose from. It is an open setup series. I wonder if we'll see some unique setups around here, considering this is all right-handers save 1 corner. And watch out for those incident limits, 13 incidents, and you'll get a drive through 17, and you'll find yourself actually disqualified. They're getting ready to take part in the qualifying session, which will hand out one of our bonus points. Or actually, excuse me, they are in the midst of the qualifying session already. And it looks like Scott Grinnell currently holds that provisional pole, but we're still lacking a lot of drivers who have yet to set a time.
Yeah, indeed. We are waiting for a whole bunch of guys to come across the line. There goes Baron Hilton coming up there into P2 as of right now in the 47 machine. Watching Kyle Robertson coming out of that tricky final corner right now.
Yep, and looks like as they come through, we're coming now to Calhoun to see if he can go any quicker. Ooh, Swindells now finds himself on the provisional pole. Pablano goes to third. Michaud up at the top briefly before Campbell overtakes him.
Ooh, we've seen a little bit of a battle between them before. Glenn Venko able to bump his way up there. Here comes Bergquist. Bergquist has been very quick this entire season, but that's going to put him in P2. I thought that lap wasn't going to stick for a second. Jordan Walker coming across with a 54.5. That'll put him down in 8th.
So we now watch Charles Sumner, who is yet to set a time, cross the line, a 54.040. Very short laps around here. Puts him within the top 10. Only 4 left that need to put one on the board. Robertson just below Sumner comes around to a 53.3. That'll shuffle him into 6th place.
Indeed, it will. There goes Pabolano, able to get his way up into 6th place right now. Ooh, that's a spinner in the back. Spencer Semskwich getting it wrong. Got to hold the brakes there. That's a little bit of a dangerous entry as we watch Robbie Campbell go to the top of the charts.
And then, of course, we've got Peter Newhook, and his first time lap is still yet to come, unfortunately. The 87 has another one deleted. Hilton is going to go to a 53.4, so about 0.2 quicker, but it doesn't look like it gets him a time.
No, he's running a little bit afoul of some of these turns around here. Here comes Kyle Robertson down onto getting ready to go here, working his way down. That's going to be a 53.6, not able to improve.
So now only Burmeister and Newhook, who we are waiting on there at the back of the field. Campbell comes back around, but looks like he's going to park it. He's got enough time to get a few more laps in if he needs. And Bertome currently sitting in 2nd, back by about 0.2 around this track. That is a wide margin, much smaller down to 3rd and 4th, where it is 0.003 to Bergquist, and Michaud only half a 10th back.
Yeah, Dobmeyer unable to improve there, but Bertone keeping up his good run here. Spencer Skemtowicz looking very, very off the pace there, not able to crack down under the 1 minutes as of right now. Looking around, though, it looks like the next driver to cross the line is going to be the 8th place driver of Kyle Robertson. There's Jason Burmeister, who has not yet set a time. He's going to come across with a 53.9. That'll only put him up into 15th.
Michaud had an off track last time, so he's not going to have that one count. In the meantime, oh, and he actually pulls off, so he's done, at least for the time being. He'll have to get back out, get the tires warmed up. Grinnell down to 14th as he gets shuffled back. David Calhoun yet to set a time, and he's not on track. Doesn't look like he's in the session, so the Hoosier seems to not be around to take part in this qualifying. I'm not sure if we'll have all 19 cars gridding up.
Not sure if we will either, but there's a little bit more of a representative time from Spencer Semkovich. Not able to move him out of position, but at least he's out of those 0 times there. Swindell's not able to set a time there. Here comes Kyle Robertson. He's been looking pretty close here at points, not able to go any faster. Time running down with only about 5 minutes to go here in qualifying.
Pabolano from 7th, not able to find anything that time through. So once again, back to Grinnell in 15th place. A 53.8 becomes a 53.6. Just takes one position up into 14th.
Not gonna help him that much, but there goes Gagnon, as we said. Here comes Peter Newhook, seeing what he can do. Newhook's gonna be able to improve there just a little bit. Not sure if that time's stuck, though. Baron Hilton looks like he's on an outlap.
It is fast and furious here with the times changing constantly, with the drivers able to iterate. Michaud's going to be next behind Walker. Down in his McLaren, the orange and black machine once again exceeded the track boundaries, so that one does not count. Instead, we look at Burmeister as Sumner behind him ducks into pit lane. Jason still stuck at a 54.8. So that won't do it for him. So instead, Luna here in 10th position, a 53 flat, will actually get him about 3 spots.
That's a good run there for Johnny Luna. Let's see if Glenn Vanko's got anything. He's going to be about 0.6 of a second off the pace. Looks like the 3rd place car of Bergquist, as you said, came into the pits. Here comes Newhook, seeing if he can improve. Newhook not going to be able to go any faster there, nor it looks like is, Dobmeyer by just a little bit. coming across the line. Campbell not going to get a better time, but let's see what Richard Swindells can do.
At 52.8, he finds about 2/10 on it, and he only needed a 1,000th to improve, so he jumps up a whole 4 positions into P4. From there, Robertson, Kyle finds himself lacking a time that time by Burmeister, though, sets a quicker lap, and he's into 16th now.
Very good time there for Burmeister. Batum continuing his good runs here. Let's see if Grinnell's got anything that's not going to be fast enough for him.
Newhook and Walker will be next. Newhook sitting in 12th place, Walker in 17th. Peter will cross first, but he doesn't find anything. And Walker, unfortunately, also suffering from the track boundaries at this place. Baron Hilton just a little bit off of his quickest. As we now look at Richard Swindells once again. He went up to 4th last time, but he's not going to repeat that as he stays put. Michaud in 5th, once again, lacking the cleanliness around this track, finding it's hard to get time without going over the limit.
Well, Joe, it's not exactly the easiest thing to do. You know, there's plenty of runoff there as we see Johnny Luna diving off into the pits. It looks like here comes Pavolano. This is going to be an outlap for him.
Bertone, though, is doing pretty well for himself. He's in 2nd still, although he hasn't improved in a couple laps. Newhook back around once again in his Porsche. 53.4 was his quickest this time through. Looks like that one also not going to count as Sumner comes across, and he also was on an outlap, I believe, that time. So what about the 4th place driver, the number 16? Nope, he is almost a full second off of his best.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of a warm-up there for Swindells. Let's see if Robertson has something. This could be a little bit close here for the independent driver. He's going to come across and indeed able to go about a half of a 10th faster, but Bertone going to come into the pits.
That'll be it for his qualifying. Behind them, Pavolano off course, and the diving turn means that one won't count. And Simkovic, unfortunately, struggling as well as he spins it off the turn. So Vanko will be the next to cross, but it is not faster for him. 30 seconds left, and drivers falling left and right, either giving up on it or just can't handle this course. Sumner can, as he gets down to a 53.3, and that'll get him into the top 10.
Great run for Charles Sumner there. Looks like Baron Hilton's going to take it off. Gagnon not able to do anything here, but he's going to get one more bite at the apple, as is Dobemeyer. The last couple drivers here crossing the line.
Robertson abandons as well. He's going to practice his pit entry. That'll be something the drivers certainly need to do here today. So what about Pavolano, who is going to be the next one? We saw there on screen Dobemeyer, who was the one who won last week out in Chicago. We've headed out of there up to the Northeast instead. And Pavolano wants to improve, but unfortunately his direction is not going forward. Vanko abandons his final lap. Then it's Sumner, decides he can't get anything out of this one. He comes into the pit lane as the checkered flag waves, waiting for someone else to come through. Campbell already holds the pole, doesn't go for another lap. Gagnon, I think, a little bit off that time. Not sure this one is going to count. Indeed, it will not. Behind him, that is... I think that was Michaud, but he doesn't improve.
No, he does not. Looks like Bergquist was not able to improve as well. I think the only guy we've got out on track is Pavolano, and I believe he may have already done it. Yeah, he's done. So our order's set here, Joe.
Interesting. And we still are missing Calhoun, so I think we're only going to have 18 cars grid up today at what is often a very frantic track to race on. Even with this small of a field, GT4 cars should be suitable, as they've got enough power to be a little scary, but not enough that it'll be ridiculous around here. In the meantime, let's go through our starting order. It'll be Robbie Campbell, who is on the pole with Bertome in P2. Bergquist starts from 3rd, as Swindells will be in 4th. Michaud, P5, followed by Dobemeyer in 6th. You've got Johnny Luna on the inside of the next row. Vanko in 8th, Pavolano 9th, and Sumner rounding out your top 10.
Starting off in 11th is going to be Kyle Robertson, followed by Scott Grinnell, with Peter Newhook and Baron Hilton lining up behind them in row 7. Michael Gagnon is going to be 15th, followed by Jason Burmeister, Jordan Walker 17th, and Spencer Semkowicz 18th. And bringing up the back of the field, we're not sure if he's going to actually make it, but David Calhoun.
So I look at drivers like Dovemeyer, who we know has got pace and consistency, or drivers like Michaud, who is currently second in the points, but isn't even on the second row. What do you do if you're one of those drivers, DJ, knowing it's going to be so hard to make an overtake here? Are you already sizing up the pit strategy, or how do you approach this?
Well, I think what I'm going to be doing is I'm really going to be trying to force some of the drivers around me into a mistake. You know, this isn't a track that it is very easy to make a pass on, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. And the best way to do it, I think, is to really get somebody to overcook going down into the Big Bend. It's a big sweeping wide corner. You've got to be constantly on your game to make sure you get it right and to get it clean. The other thing is you can put some pressure as they go into the uphill. That uphill right-hander, that's very, very tricky. It's a hard corner to get right. And sometimes if you just get a little bit of a wheel off to the left, it can throw you off. And so those are the two areas that I'm going to be looking to exert maximum pressure.
Well, good news is in that pressure, it won't involve a hot track because it's only about 80 degrees Fahrenheit on the surface currently. With about 71 Fahrenheit air temperatures and practically no wind for the drivers to be concerned with either. It's early in the morning here, just about 9:30 a.m. virtual standard time in Connecticut. So beautiful morning race for our GT4 field as they come around Big Bend towards the only left-hander on the entire course.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the eccentricities sort of here as it that the S's is the only real part that they do that. But everybody here just keeping everything together. 80 degrees track temperature, as you said. I think that means that going into Big Bend for the first time may be a hair tricky, and they're going to have to watch out for it. But I think by the time they get around for the second lap, it should be good to go, and we should have some good, clean racing.
Campbell going to be starting from the top spot, looking for a 4th win out of 5 races. Can he make up for last time as they now come up the uphill and over the crest? These cars do have some grunt, and I wonder if we could see a little bit of a leap as they come over that and lose traction. Will it catch anybody out as well? Through West Bend, and then one more corner to go before that Porsche pace car releases them out there in round 5 of the GT4 AM series here for the Precision Racing League. Who is going to get the good jump? Will we see some aggressive moves? Ooh, already going for Campbell. He might go past, and green flag is out, but he passed the pace car before it entered pit lane. Hopefully that's not a penalty as they come down into Big Bend. Already single file for the first couple with that big leap from Campbell away from the field. It is relatively spread out with few drivers side by side.
Yeah, everybody taking it relatively calm there. Looks like one of the only movers we had is Alex Dovemeyer was able to get a jump on Michael Michaud there. But everybody pretty nice and clean there. I have to think, though, that the stewards are going to be taking a look at that move from Robbie Campbell. That's normally a pretty definitive no-no, passing the pace car before it dives into the pits.
I'm trying to see if I can get confirmation from someone inside on whether or not that is going to net him a penalty. I guess we'll find out soon enough because he's going to have to come down pit lane if that's the case, which he's not doing this time by. Bertone following him about 0.8 of a second back with Bergquist there 0.8 back in third as well. A little bit of a charge behind them from Michaud, who lost a spot at the start. Oh, and Bertone goes off.
Oh no, the bad luck continuing here for Jerome Bertome. He just keeps having these problems. He looks so strong, but just losing it coming around Big Bend. Let's check out the replay, Joe.
I mean, first lap in anger down into Big Bend. Do you think maybe cold tires?
Yeah, I think that looks like a little bit of it. He just got a little bit wide coming around the outside there. Let it go. You know, that corner rather is a little bit crowned. So if you get off to the outside, it does get off camber, and I think that's what threw him away.
Well, it threw him all the way to the back of the field now. He's in 18th with a long race ahead of him. This is great news for Campbell. He's still about 2.2 seconds ahead of anybody. And look at this, down for third rather, Swindell's and Dobmeier as Alex tries to look around the outside mid-corner, but nothing there. And Michaud as well, all on top of each other.
Yeah, they are really, really duking it out here, not playing any advice to trying to take this easy. Let's see how they handle here coming up Big Bend. This is one of those areas I talked about that it's very easy to make a mistake if you're not careful. Come up, looks nice and easy. Looked like they're in the middle of that. I think that was Dobmeier that got a little bit off to the side. That's where you got to be careful.
Yeah, can't go too wide there. There's no runoff on the outside of that corner. Down the front stretch once again. Last time, Alex took a little bit of a peek, but couldn't get the overlap. This time, looks like Richard is going to try and cover him off just in case. And, a little wide there through the middle part of the turn, but cuts it back down in time. And that is going to keep them in position. But the more that we see Alex do that, the more he's going to open the door for Michael to have a go.
Yeah, he really is. He's got to be careful. Here they come again, though, coming up that hill. A little bit of the curve there for Michaud. He's got to watch that again. Dobmeier taking a lot of that exit. If he keeps that up, he could be in real trouble.
As all this has been happening, we're getting a bit of a train behind Kyle Robertson in 8th place. As well, Sumner, Grinnell, Gagnon, and Pavolano are all in there trying to chase him down. This is a very good run from Charlie. Let's see if the 98 can make something happen down into the first corner. No, just not quite close enough, but still we're seeing some defensive moves from a few drivers just to be ultra sure.
Yeah, just trying to cover off everything that they can to make sure they're a little bit of a move on the outside there for Sumner, trying to get some more speed, able to get it better there through the mid-corner. Ooh, that's a big chunk of the curb there for the 15 of Kyle Robertson, but Sumner not able to capitalize.
Nobody's sticking with it as they come up the uphill now. Off of that crest, everybody keeps it tidy. Nobody losing traction too badly there through West Bend. Ooh, and they're starting to close in. Everybody within nearly a car length or 2 car lengths of one another. Off the apex for Charlie Sumner. And Scott Grinnell now has a good shot at trying to overtake for 9th.
He does indeed. He's going to take a look for it. There he goes to the inside. Is he going to be able to hold that line? No, backs off very early.
Gagnon almost was able to go around the outside of him. It almost seemed like Scott was a little too timid into that corner. Certainly valuable information for him later as Scott blinked on my screen and Gagnon almost got into the back of him coming through the right-hander.
Yeah, he did. That blinking becoming a bit of a problem there, really popping in and out there. You see Sumner crossing over the hill as he does right there, going around here, keeping everything nice and even. You know, these drivers are getting very slicey and dicey, but whoa, there's some good action in the back. I believe that's Gagnon and Pavolano.
Yeah, Michelle, unfortunately, went a little bit off track through West Bend, but that checked up, Michael. And now Pavolano loses ground instead of being able to try and attack for a position. This seems like a really good illustration of the difficulties we were talking about, DJ, where even with mistakes, a lot of drivers can't seem to do much.
Yeah, just not able to really overtake. You know, Lime Rock is really known as a driver's track. It's one of those tracks that a lot of people come to train at. It was a favorite, actually, of Paul Newman in the later stages of his life. He wanted to come out here and drive it again. Didn't have the health to do it, and so had a couple of his buddies to drive him around. But that's neither here nor there, because the drivers that are out driving around right now and putting on a heck of a show, that's Grinnell, Gagnon, and Pavolano. They are running 1, 2, 3.
And getting very close to one another. Scott sees a mirror full of the 61. A lot of inside curve for Pavolano, but he manages it well. A better exit for the 2 Porsches in front of him. Michelle starting to gain on the number 55, but under braking, he's just not there. Ooh, but wide on the exit for the 55 once again. Very different lines between many of the drivers around those first set of corners.
Yeah, and that's a little bit surprising for me. I'm not going to lie. I would have expected that to be a little bit interesting, a little bit closer. But Gagnon really starting to put some pressure here up as much as he can onto Grinnell. Thought he could have had of a run. It's really fascinating, Joe. All three of these drivers, they just look like they've got different places of the track where they're better.
Certainly is, but we got to jump up to second place because we could have a change for position. Swindell's got a good run, but not good enough of one. And behind him, Dobmeyer as well, just kind of hovering around, watching from on board that Porsche. Oh, but he goes wide off of the second apex at Big Bend, and now Michaud has turned the tables on him, and he is looking to try and attack that blue car. Oh, we had an off. Looks like Grinnell finally gave up the position, and this was his own doing.
Yeah, a little bit of a self-spin there, I think, or a self-bobble, rather, for Grinnell. Gonna go back and check out that replay here. Let's watch it. Ooh, it's the same thing, I think, that happened to Bertone, Joe.
Yeah,
Let's jump on board. Yeah, just got too far out, and that crown caught him out.
As soon as your wheels touch that dirt, it's hard to do anything but go into the runoff. And unfortunately, it sent him down to 15th before he was able to rejoin safely. Oh, and something's going on with second place here. Swapping of positions, and Swindell managed to get past Bergquist. Bergquist now having to fight off Dobmeyer around the outside of the left-hander, but it switches back here, and unfortunately, it's going to be multiple positions. Michaud able to sneak by. Can he shut the door before Luna can go through? No. Johnny now taking a peek, and finally, the bleeding stops for poor Gavin Bergquist.
Oh, he's going to be very happy about that, but Johnny Luna looking like he's definitely got a chance to try to make an even better run here if he can. He's really starting to put some more pressure on it now. That Beamer starts to look like it's losing a little bit as they dive down the hill into diving turn. Little bit of a big jump, a curve there, but wow, look at that run from Luna.
Unbelievable. So that is 4 positions right there for Kevin Bergquist. Luna now up into 5th. And what happened last lap was that Swindell's just got a good run on Kevin and managed to take the inside away into Big Bend. Unfortunately, that started the backward slide. I think something happened to Michel Gagnon. Trying to check and see if he had an accident here because it says he manually disconnected. Don't think we can get a replay on this one. This must have had some sort of software issue or something because he pulled off to the track and then called it a day all of his own accord.
I'm not sure what happened there. That may have just been some software issue, or it could have been a personal issue, but we're going to keep our eyes focused here on this incredible battle. Michaud getting chased down here by Johnny Luna in that BMW. Johnny, one of the only 2 Beamers out here running today, has a little bit of look going down into Big Bend. Not going to be able to go for it here, but I think that Beamer's got something under it.
Certainly looks like it, not doing too badly, being within the top 5, and he's going to try and dive to the inside of the 3rd corner. Oh, and he blinks out. The connection is just not there, but he is through and past Michaud with a scary moment for the 497. So the 17 now into 4th. Hopefully that clears up.
Yeah, let's certainly hope it does. Would hate to see anything like that happening. But yeah, Luna continuing his chase going forward. Looks like Bergquist trying to close in behind as well. This is really one of the better battles we have on track right now, Joe.
Yeah, but Luna's starting to pull away. He's got a handy gap of about 3 car lengths on Michaud. So I'm not sure that this is going to be able to be fought back by Michael, at least right now. Although you never know if we could get Bergquist charging back through the field after losing the positions he had and gave away. You see them all 3 in a line coming out of the right-hander. Down No Name.
Yeah, down No Name, just keeping this battle up as they go. Ooh, gonna jump back up to P2 though as it's getting a little close up there. Richard Swindell's getting some pressure from Alex Dobmeyer.
Last round's winner showed how he is able to win races, up from 6th on the grid into 3rd. We're watching from Alex's perspective now. Certainly not close enough at this stage, but doing a lot of what you talked about. He waited for the opportunities to come to him And as they have one by one, he's picked them off.
Yeah, that's really what you've got to do here. And so as we ride on board with Dobmeier, this is Porsche versus McLaren. Look at the different ways he's trying to take that line as they start in through the S's, just trying to fill Swindell's mirrors as much as possible. Get him a little scared, I think.
Ooh, he's closed up a lot in this last lap. It is now down to 0.2 of a second as they come through the uphill, but the car washes out a little bit compared to that 16. And the time goes right away. And 27 minutes to go. There is still clock left to try and gain on him and make an attack and apply pressure, but it certainly looks like he is eager to try and elicit a mistake from Richard Swindell's.
Yeah, I definitely think that's what he's trying to do. Look how wide he is there going into Big Ben, trying to maybe make a move on him there. Not quite close enough, but he's going to be scaring Swindell's, I'll tell you that.
Ooh, and very close off the corner. Richard was a little bit scared because he went defensive on the way in, but it wasn't enough to give away the position. Now, Alex is the one having slight blinking problems. And the more that they fight like this, the quicker that Johnny Luna can start to gather them up, because he's only about 0.9 of a second back. You can see that white BMW just behind. And if they go side by side, they're going to start handing things over to that number 17 very quickly.
Yeah, indeed they are. They've got to watch out for Johnny. That Beamer does look like it's an absolute rocket ship.
Still sitting at 0.9 back, and once again, a defensive cover for Richard in the 16, almost when he doesn't need to. It didn't seem like Alex was close enough that he should fret about that. Allows the blue Porsche to close in, but the McLaren unfazed, hugs the left-hand side, takes that late apex, and looks to size up the run onto No Name. And now you can say that Johnny Luna is absolutely there. Look at him. Within 0.3 of a second, he cut off about 0.6 in half a lap.
Luna absolutely on fire, really starting to do what we saw him do to Michael Michaud earlier, trying to get as much pressure as he can onto the back of Alex Dobmeier.
And we have yet to hit lap traffic, but with 17 cars still on track, he might actually catch up. Our leader might catch up to Burmeister at some point. And also, it'll be hard for those drivers behind to maybe try an early stop to cut underneath, as another look from Luna on Alex Dobmeier through Big Ben doesn't give him a spot, but he's starting to poke and prod. You can see him there in the background, weaving left and right behind the rear wing of the 99.
Yeah, just trying to see if he can force that mistake to get in there. I love the moves. I love seeing it all the way around.
Love seeing them hop over that crest. Just wild to look at. Oh, and it was way off the apex. The car checks up. Here comes Luna. He's got the inside. Side by side through diving turn is hard to pull off. And unfortunately for Alex, he can't do it. He gives way as Johnny now moves on to the podium.
Well, this is an inspired run here, really, for Johnny Luna. And now the real question is going to be is if he's going to be able to catch Swindell's. I mean, he's 7.2 seconds up the road. We got 24 minutes, but the way Luna's driving, I don't know, anything's possible.
Might be the farthest he goes, though, because it's like 6 seconds up to our leader already. As we check. Whoa, and Luna makes a mistake. Luna off the course, out of the right-hander. We saw it on screen just as it happened. Oh, touched the grass.
And that'll get you every single time. Just a little bit of a bite out on it. And that sends Luna all the way back to 9th. So unfortunate for Luna, but selfishly up here in the booth, gotta love the fact we get to see him fight all the way through the field. Jumping up here, though, Dobmeier and Michaud back at it.
The last step on the podium has certainly been a contentious spot today, as Michaud now wants it back. Oh, we had a big wreck between Baron Hilton and Scott Grinnell as we ride on board with Michaud here. I'm trying to see if this is worth checking out. Yeah, we might want to take a look at this one. This starts with Baron Hilton with a little bit of a wide run, and you can see the damage as he tries to come into the pits for some repairs.
yeah, big run off wide. Oh, and that's that rising crest there coming over West Bend. Very easy to get it wrong there. Grinnell just taken out. Very unfortunate.
Poor Scott was kind of an innocent victim. He was trying to hold it as far right as possible, and poor Barron, he's been on the radio saying, the car was out of control. I couldn't do anything there, but he's got at least a couple angry drivers with him right now. I think once they go back and see the replay, they kind of will understand that. As we take a look at 7th place now, it is Kyle Robertson and Charles Sumner. Robertson up 4 positions from the start.
Well, all right, that's a good run there for Robertson. He's going to be very, very happy about that, I have to imagine. Sumner, though, trying to chase him down. Sumner currently up 2 positions from his start, seeing what he can do on the back of that Porsche.
Way wide. You talked about that before. Robertson taking a whole lot of the track there coming through the uphill, but survives the ordeal and maybe loses a little bit of hair as well as some time to Charles Sumner. Onto the front stretch, it's Sumner's turn to have a scary moment, and he's going to be slow off the corner. Luna says, thank you very much, give me that. And Luna gets into 8th place. Maybe he's going to have to brake hard. Still fighting him around the outside, almost 2 wheels into the dirt, but Charlie Sumner does lose the spot. He keeps it on the track. He falls to 9th.
Well, he's not going to be as happy about that, but he's still at least close enough behind the number 17 to see if he can do something. But as we've seen before, Luna just on an absolute tear today, so I don't know how much Sumner's going to have for him.
Well, as they now come through West Bend, he's still in it. He may have made that little mistake, but he was within reach, and it looks like he just had a bad exit out of West Bend, and suddenly that BMW disappears in the distance, and in comes Charles Sumner for what I think is going to be a scheduled stop at just about the halfway mark.
Yeah, that's just about what it is, but this is that battle for P2 we've been talking about. This is Swindells and Dobmeyer as they continue to battle it out there. Swindells running a little bit wide on the exit of the S, is just trying to use all of the track that he can to really maximize potential.
Just kind of wavering back and forth, showing himself in the mirror of that McLaren. Oh, and a mistake once again. And West Bend seems to be a difficult corner today. Doesn't give up the spot. Alex wasn't there to capitalize, but seeing that, he elects now to pit in.
I think that's a good call for Dobmeyer to want to do that. Maybe just get a little bit of a mental reset as he comes in. That is going to be our highest pitter, and that's now going to allow for Swindells to have a moment to breathe here and get himself out front.
Getting word that Charles is hoping for an undercut here to try and get by the driver ahead of him, which was Luna at the time. This is our leader staying out, not interested in trying to do a short stop. I wonder if Dobmeyer doing a bit of the same. Maybe they saw some open room on the track if they pitted when they did. There. And Luna continuing to have all sorts of problems with his connection, but he's already caught up to 6th place. This is an impressive recovery. Robertson right in front of him will bring him just about back to where he was before position-wise, but he's still a long ways off time-wise from those that he was battling with earlier.
Indeed, it's a long way for him to go here at this point, but he may still have the speed. Wow, look at that speed in the corner of Big Bend, really coming through there. Just shows you how well Johnny Luna's got this car hooked up.
It loves that Big Bend. He's done that a few times, really getting right underneath the rear wing of the car ahead. He tries the switch back, and I think, oh, it almost looked like it was going to be successful. A lot of wheel spin. He remains side by side, but he lifts before they get to the uphill. He's not willing to risk it then.
Well, and that's the sign of a pretty heads-up driver there, Joe. Just recognizing that he doesn't want to have to make that assault unless he has to. Oh, but he forced a little bit of an error there from Robertson. I think Robertson went a little bit wide coming through West Bend. Now let's see if Luna can carry more speed coming down that final corner. He's been able to do this before, weaving this way and that, just trying to scare off Robertson.
Shows his nose. Robertson doesn't cover, lets him to the inside, and a little bit of a slide later. Luna is now up into the 6th position, 2 seconds to get up to Vanko. Considering the pace that he's been showing, I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to at least get close to that number 29 car. We look at second place. Michaud is behind him, but not the car behind him, because Bertone has made a pit stop. He sees the writing on the wall. He knows he's not fighting anybody directly, so he pulls off to the side. That gives Michael a chance to try and pick up the pace and see if he can still catch that second place driver, which unfortunately might be as high as he will go, because Campbell's still at about 7.5 seconds away from anybody else.
Yeah, Robbie just really running away with this race in a big way. Closest car he's got up ahead of him, that's the 14 of Charles Sumner. Sumner, who has pitted already, so he's going to be able to run pretty clear, but we're going to keep our eyes focused here on this battle for P2. Michelle continuing to try to close down with Berquist not too far behind.
Information for those wondering about the pit stop situation: Dovemeyer, Sumner, and Bertone, the only 3 that have come in and taken their fuel right now. A little bit of weaving down the front stretch as Michaud's trying to break the draft of Bertone maybe a little bit, but doesn't need to worry too much as Jerome is a lap down. Looks like Glenn Vanko will be the next to blink.
Well, right there you go. Vanko deciding to come on in and take care of business. He's waking his way down as we continue to watch here Michaud in this battle that just doesn't seem to ever go away, Joe.
So Vanko is a little ways ahead of Sumner, I want to say, so I'm not sure he'll be able to get through. Oh, and Vanko's on a long stop. He's on a very long stop. I wonder if the 29 maybe got a speeding penalty here. I'd have to go back and check, but he's been stationary for about 25 seconds now.
Oh, that's not great for him. That's definitely going to hurt him. Yeah, that looks like that's a pit stop penalty to me.
Yeah, he came in about 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, unfortunately. Michaud is in. Another one of our front runners. Will he be able to make up any time on Alex Dovemeyer, who he was chasing a little bit earlier before the stops began? There's our leader coming up and over the crest. Looks like Dovemeyer is going to easily be out ahead of Michaud. There is Dovemeyer still running in 10th place, highest of our drivers who have pitted. He is catching up to Spencer Simkovich, who has not stopped. He's going to hope that that 012 stops soon.
Yeah, that's going to be where that pit stop strategy is really going to start to come into play a little bit to see what he can do. Michaud coming out in 11th. He's still got a lot of room to make up, but here comes Swindell in the pit. So that's part of that battle we've been seeing with Michaud. Let's see how that plays out.
And just as I mentioned it, Simkovich announced on the radio that he is pitting in. So that will free up Alex in the number 99. Here is Michaud down, diving turn. Swindell still in his pit stall, 12 seconds, 13, 14. It was a slightly longer stop, but not by a whole lot. Michaud is now coming past the pit exit, but it appears Swindell's will be out in front of him. However, 5 seconds behind Dovemeyer, the 99 has put a lot of distance between himself and those he was racing earlier on.
Yeah, he certainly has. That's a good run there for him, for sure.
Simkovich returns to the track as well. Looks like Johnny Luna finally coming in. While he stops in his pit stall, he needs to lean over and bang on his modem. See if he can get it working a little bit better. Looks like Newhook also pitting in, so we're waiting on Walker, Pavolano, Robertson, Berquist, and Campbell. They've got a couple more minutes, and then they should theoretically be close to being out of fuel.
Yeah, that should be about what it is, but we've seen some of the best guys really be able to milk this out as long as possible. As you said there, Dobmeyer, the highest up not to have pitted right now.
Our leader's in. So Robbie Campbell now finally decides he's had enough, but Bergquist stays out, so he's going to likely lead a lap next time. Looks like Robertson also electing to stay out. Pavellano waiting for him to come around the final turn. See what he's going to do. Michael is pitting in.
All right, so there he goes. He is going to come on in. Both of them, that's going to give Bergquist the lead, Robertson into second, and Walker into third.
Coming out ahead of Dobmeyer. Did Campbell... No, wait. Did Dobmeyer gain a whole bunch of time? Or was he this close before? It's about 2 seconds between Campbell and Dobmeyer, and they had relatively similar pit stop times.
You're right, Joe. I'm not sure what happened other than the fact that Dobmeyer took that very, very early undercut, and I wonder if staying out by Robbie Campbell just cost him a little bit of traffic, and that's what came back to bite him.
That could be, yeah. It should have been, from what I'm seeing, maybe 6 to 7 seconds between them before the stops. So this has worked a treat for last round's winner. But the winner of the previous three, easy for me to say, has got himself track position. And as we've seen here, that has been invaluable.
Yeah, it certainly has. But I mean, with as close as he is, that's really impressive. He's within a second of Campbell. We may have a little bit of a race on our hands here, Joe.
Absolutely. Well, if he's better in traffic, then it could make him better when they come up to more lap traffic. We still have 13 cars on the lead lap. This is Kyle Robertson in the number 15, who finally has run out of fuel. He's coming into pit lane, hitting the pit limiter, and he will hand over the lead back to Campbell and Dobmeyer. Now only 0.8 of a second apart from one another. This officially becomes the battle for the lead as they cross the line. Oh my goodness. Is this going to be a clash of the Titans this season? Can Dobmeyer actually come back from how far back he is in the points? He's got 77 points to make up. I'm not sure that he can climb that much unless he gets some really bad results out of Robbie in some of the remaining races.
Well, it's certainly not out of the question. I will tell you that right now. We've seen some crazy things happen, but yeah, Dobmeyer's closing that gap down, Joe. I'm looking at those last lap times. He was able to go about 0.4 of a second faster, so he's certainly on a charge here.
The pit stop times were about the same, so I can't imagine that he took tires. And even if he did, I wouldn't think they'd be worth quite this much. Unless, I wonder if you're able to only take left side tires here. Have to ask some of our informants in the background, see if that is possible without having to lose time in the pit stop. Meanwhile, this is the battle for 6th place. Robertson, Luna, and Sumner.
And remember, this is Johnny Luna's triumphant pretty much rise back through the field as he woohoo down to the inside there of Kyle Robertson. That's a heck of a move again for Luna. He just keeps putting moves on left, right, and center here.
He's right on top of him. But this is going to cost them time on the 17. Off goes Kyle Robertson, a little wide on the uphill. That's going to be some big damage just clattering into the Armco.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of loss of concentration there after getting passed by Luna, maybe driving with a little bit of the red mist. Looks like Robertson's going to be able to continue on, but that car's definitely going to have some damage. Yeah, look, it's almost crabbing a little bit coming down the straightaway.
That takes us back to 4th then. Boy, what a race it's been for the 497 of Michaud, and he was under threat for a moment from Bergquist, who started in 3rd, has now fallen back to 5th position. I'm sure he'd like to make up for that loss from earlier, and he is just climbing all over the back of him. Who's that off? That's Swindells. That was for position. Richard Swindells with some sort of error that sent him off the course, and I think into the wall.
Oh my goodness, we're going to go back and check out the replay here. This is Swindells in the center of your screen. This is coming through the S's portion of the track, takes a little bit of curb there, goes out wide. Oh, it just touched the grass, Joe, ran it a little bit wide, and a hard hit into that right side Armco.
You can see had to limp back to the track. It is really unfortunate, but sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles, and he's into pit lane to try and get some of those repairs done. So as we come back to the number 15 of Kyle Robinson, another driver that unfortunately had some issues out there. He is just behind Robbie Campbell. Oh, excuse me, this is Dobmeyer that we're looking at on screen.
Yeah, this is that battle for P1 that we've been keeping our eye on. The gap's now down to about 0.3 of a second. Again there, only about 0.06 of a second in between those two drivers. Dobmeyer really trying to put the pressure on. That's the move we've seen time and time again that seems to work there. Oh, is he going to try to go around the outside of that third turn? It's going to be a little bit hard. There is Campbell in that corner, so he can carry some momentum, but right now it's advantage Campbell.
Well, we had someone go take a look, and Dobmeyer did not take tires in that pit stop. So this is basically all his own pace. He was faster on his own, got in, got out, ran the hot laps, and now he is on the trail of Robbie Campbell with 6 minutes left on the clock. Question is, can he find his way by? Falls back a little bit this lap, so not as good as before.
He may have just overcooked those tires a little bit, Joe. Like we said, the wear in these GT4 tires, not always the biggest thing, but what is always so important is the heat in them. Takes that wide line again, coming through the S's, takes a little bit more curb there than does Campbell, trying to really make something work here if he can go for it.
And not only is this close, but third and fourth, I'm keeping half an eye on that. So if that erupts, I'll give a shout. But in the meantime, this is for the lead down through West Bend. Wonder if the 99 just isn't as strong there. No, he's good off the corner. And now through diving turn, he's good off of that corner as well. Sticking with the McLaren. This is the closest he's been in some time. Covering down the inside. Campbell is going to make him work the hard way. As they break for Big Bend, he gets a little bit of an overlap, but then falls back, so Dobmeyer not going to get it that time.
Yeah, he's going to have to hold back a little bit here, see what he can do. Campbell took a little bit more of the inside curb there, coming through that part of the S's now as they move their way up towards Big Bend. Through there, they're going to have a little bit of lap traffic up ahead of them in the form of Michael Pavolano. That's about 3.2 seconds up the road.
Hopefully this is not determined or interrupted by the lap traffic, but sometimes that's just racing. As two wheels off into the grass for Robbie Campbell, desperately trying to hold on now. He's been rattled, and Dobmeyer knows it. He forces him to the inside once again. Did he learn anything from the last time? Can he break deeper? Can he manage to overlap? He does. He holds on the long way around, but the grip starts to go away. He'll keep a nose in coming off the corner. Oh, and he runs out of track.
Oh, so close, but that has got to be absolutely getting the blood up of Robbie Campbell. He knows that Dobmeyer's got the speed.
And Bergquist gets the spot past Michaud. I think he did what Dobmeyer couldn't. He went around the outside of Michaud.
All right, let's watch this right here. This is Bergquist, gets a really good run off the corner, running on board with Michaud right now. There you see a little bit of the move. Johnny Luna stalking in the background. He's going to go to the outside there of Big Bend. A little bit later on the brakes, aggressive turn in and just sticks it and has no fear. And what it was, Joe, is right at about the middle of that corner, he was able to pull ahead and just cut off the nose ever so slightly.
Brilliant move, but I don't think this one is over as they come down the front stretch once again. And poor Michaud now has Johnny Luna there, goes to defend, but it's a little late. Or is it an attack? Trying to get to the inside? Maybe? No. And fortunately, neither was successful as Luna now gets into fourth.
I thought for sure that Johnny Luna was going to just plow into the side of Kevin Bergquist, but an amazing job to keep that BMW round up underneath him. I think he may be on for a podium here if he keeps it together. Michaud trying to challenge Luna the best he can, but it just looks like Luna can't be beat.
Quite a great run there from Luna, coming back from that big mistake. Now, unfortunately, speaking of mistakes, Dobmeier, we saw him have a go at our leader, but he hasn't been getting close since then. I wonder if he spent the car in those couple of moves. Onto the front stretch. Does Bergquist have anything to fend off the fastest BMW of today? That good exit will certainly do it. Michaud actually might have a shot to try and get this back on Johnny. Gonna look for it, but Johnny doesn't cover him off and doesn't need to as he chops down to the apex.
Chops it down, and Johnny's going to have to wait another day. But, ooh, almost a little bit squirrely there from Bergquist coming off of the corner. So able to hold it down pretty well here. Now Luna looks like he's got a little bit of speed coming around as they get out of there and up through Big Bend. I don't think he's going to be gutsy enough to try to make it through the uphill, but he's certainly keeping the pressure on.
And that's been offering things here and there. I'm not sure if that was a defense or a bobble there out of the 64 as we look through the slot between his rear wing and his deck lid. Onto the front stretch. Oh, right up to him, almost touching him. Not something that you want to do. And diving turn, it looks like it may have checked him up. Here comes Michaud down to the inside. Can he complete the pass this time? Holding on the long way around. The BMW's got better grip. It might be a taller car, but look at the grunt.
Holy moly, Joe. That was just determination and action from Johnny Luna, able to hold that around the outside. But we've got to jump back up to the lead. Dobmeier's caught back up, and we're just about to be under a minute to go.
Not sure if this is going to be white flag or not. This is going to be close. Down to about 53 seconds a lap. I think this is the white flag. It was about 52 seconds, but Alex too far behind. Robbie Campbell. It'll take something of desperation to make it work unless he gets a mega run over that 93 out of diving turn on this last lap. Now through the left-hander. He's keeping him honest, keeping him within 0.3 of a second. Can he cut that down enough that he could use the slipstream and a launch to try and snipe him at the line?
Well, he's going to have to try to. It's going to be all about the exit off of West Bend. Here he's coming closer. Let's see what he's got.
Who's got a better run through West Bend? Campbell does not do a good job through there. Here comes Dobmeier. Tries to square it off. Oh, and trying to defend the inside. Oh, my goodness. Campbell almost lost it, but he'll hold the lead as he takes the win. And Dobmeier has to settle for second behind them. Luna is looking like he might take that third place as Bergquist was not able to hold him back. Johnny Luna, what a recovery.
An amazing recovery for Luna, able to pit Bergquist on that last lap. Very, very well-deserved place. Charles Sumner there, able to come home in sixth. A little bit of a battle there going on behind. That's Kyle Robertson. And also, I want to give a shout-out here to Jerome Bertome. He came home in eighth despite having that big accident early on.
Yeah, but he started from second, so that was a lot of points given away. As Simkovic is our last one across the line, which means our results are done, and Robbie Campbell takes the win. It was Alex Dobmeier in second. Almost saw an opportunity in the last corner, but it was not meant to be. Johnny Luna was third with Bergquist in P4. Michaud finished exactly where he started in fifth. Sumner, great race from 10th to 6th. The undercut worked for him. Kyle Robertson was 7th as Jerome Bertome was 8th, and Jordan Walker from 17th to 9th. Didn't even get to cover him, really. Newhook was 10th.
In 11th, it was Spencer Semkowicz, and then Michael Pavolano was in a 12th, a lap down, followed by Glenn Vanko and Richard Swindells. Jason Burmeister was 4 laps down, and the rest of the field, unfortunately, unable to see the checkered flag here today.
And that takes us to our winner, Robbie Campbell. The question, I think, on everybody's mind is, of course, the move down into diving turn at the very end. Robbie, was that defense? Was that slowing it up for the clock? Tell us, what was the reasoning for going to the inside there?
There's a little bit of everything. Hats off to Alex. I have no idea where he came from. I thought I had a 7 or 8 second lead over second place when I went into the pits, and I came out of the pits and he was only a second half behind me. So I have no idea where he came from, but hats off to him.
Yeah, we were just as shocked as you. We even checked to see if he maybe managed to take left side tires or something weird, but no, he just ran a quick race. Speaking of a quick race, that first half, you were lightning quick pulling away from another one. What did you find around here that made the difference?
I just tried to, me and Richard Swindells, we've been working together all week to find a quick way around the track, and I just wanted to get out to a good 4 or 5 second lead 4 or 5 second lead over second place, and then just try and save my tires as much as possible. And maybe I tried to save them a little too much there for Alex, but that was the plan.
Well, you're still 4 for 5. That's got to feel pretty good. Heading just across the border to MotorSports. Do you think you can manage to get another win on home territory?
I hope so. That track's only a couple hours from my house, so I'm very familiar with it, so hopefully I can keep the run going here.
Well, congratulations. That was Robbie Campbell, our victor here today. And just behind him was Alex Dobmeyer. I think DJ's got a couple questions for him.
I do, and the first one is the one on everybody's mind. Alex, how did you make up that time in the pit stop, man?
I have no idea. I entered the pit. I thought I got the speed right, did my refuel that I had my fuel calculator tell me, and I came out a few laps later. I saw this little red McLaren exit right in front of me, and I was like, hang on, that's not right.
Well, you got to love how happenstance plays out for you. So I've got to ask you, there's a lot of similarities, I think, between this track and where we're headed next to MotorSport. How do you think it's going to go?
I have no idea, actually. I haven't driven MotorSport before. I've driven this, so I couldn't really say. But either way, if it's anything like this, it'll be a lot of fun. This is very, very close and intense racing.
Well, I know we're looking forward to seeing it. Anybody you'd like to thank for this second-place result here today?
Yeah, my 2 friends, Rainbow George and Lozzie, who both helped me preparing for this track with the setup and the line. Really made all the difference.
Well, thank you very much. That was Alex Dobmeyer. Joe?
That's going to take us to a quick break. Stick around. There's more racing to come with the PRL GT3 Pro Series in just a few moments' time. Don't go away. Welcome back. We are getting ready to go to the Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari here at Imola for the PRL GT3 Pro Series. To show you what is involved in this historic track, we have our handy lap guide. Welcome to Lime Rock Park. Located in the northwest corner of Connecticut, this unassuming little track has garnered a surprisingly passionate following. Its unique aspects create a circuit not only full of character, but consistently challenging even to modern race cars. While it has 4 different possible layouts, on the classic version, only 7. Welcome to the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari, but most race fans know this place as simply Imola. This circuit in the northern part of Italy has seen some of the highest highs and lowest lows in motorsports history. The various tragedies that have marred the track left no choice but to alter it in the name of safety. While it originally featured mostly fast, sweeping corners, its modern 3-mile or 5-kilometer version is punctuated by tricky chicanes and incredibly technical turns. iRacing includes the Grand Prix layout and a moto version, which adds 1 more chicane to the front stretch. Tamburello is perhaps the most notorious of the corners for claiming the life of multi-time world champion Ayrton Senna when it was still a single breathtaking turn. Now the Triple Apexer not only offers potential passing opportunities, but catches out drivers quite frequently. While heavy braking zones are everywhere, because few places allow the cars to get up to speed, overtaking is generally seen as an exercise in frustration. As if to almost counteract this quality, the track itself is situated in a gorgeous public park and sends the drivers through the beautifully calming Italian countryside. It also includes a fair bit of elevation change in which the track is split between the higher up back half and the lower first portion. It's no wonder that this place still proves popular with drivers and fans in spite of its difficulties in history. The Tifosi keep returning each and every time the sound of engines roar among the trees, and who can blame them? DJ, with GT3 cars here instead of F1, we should have an interesting one considering there's so many different makes to choose from.
Most certainly, and I think you're really going to see some differentiation when it comes to what works and what doesn't. But most specifically, what's going to be different about watching these guys run around here at Imola, well, it's going to be they can take the curbs a little bit more. These cars are heavier, their suspensions are tighter, and so they're really able to bump and bounce over the curbs, and I think that's really going to help them be able to maximize around this track. Now, don't worry about them trying to get a pass or 2 by. They are going to be able to do it, specifically going down into Tamburello. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a pass or 2 as well, maybe going down into Ravazza too. But as always, you're going to have to watch out for the Variante Alta, those high curbs, just so difficult, and even with these GTs, it'll really knock you out.
Now, as for our point situation, Nicholas Rubilar currently leading the way with 3 wins under his belt, an even bigger gap than what we saw coming into this round for the GT4s. Jesse Stevens, 24 points behind. Then behind him, look at that, Karl Modov, just about another 24 points back. And then Tavares about 8 behind him, or 12 behind him, as they finally get someone relatively close together in our top 5. Otherwise, you can see all of them very far apart. What about the team's championship?
Well, Joe, in that team's championship, it's still pretty spread out at the top, with Punto CL Racing Black having a 45-point lead over Delta Sport Falcon. But from there, it starts to tighten up a little bit. Pure Sims Esports only 7 points away from Delta Sport, and Delta Sport Raptor only about 11 points or 9 points back, of Pure Sim Esports, and another 9 points back for Delta Sport Eagle. So Delta Sport obviously having the most teams. Maybe if they all combined them, they could be taking over the championship, but definitely a lot of room to play for as early as we are in this season.
Indeed, and the GT3 Pro Series sees round 5 this evening. There's the different cars that they are able to choose from, and just like before, it's another 40-minute race. Now, also, like before, they have an incident limit at 13 before they get a drive-through. There's a number of places where you can wind up abusing that, and I wonder if that could be a real danger. As for that bonus for pole, well, Alessandro Di Tullio actually currently holds that position. He's about a quarter of a second ahead of Carl Modhoff, who is not out on the track right now with 1.5 minutes left to go. So I think that is it, that Carl cannot overtake him. David Holland might be able to. No, I take that back. David Holland just came into the pit. So David Holland can't. Jesse Stevens would be the next most likely, who sits in 4th.
Yeah, let's see if he's going to do it. That is him coming into the pits there. Here comes J.R. Williams, the SRT Esports Blue driver. I don't think this is going to be enough to pip his best time. No, I stand corrected. It is his best time, but it doesn't look like it's going to move him up the charts. Here comes Julio Palacio, little bit wide coming out of Ravazza 2.
He's well down the order, down to 19th right now. So as he approaches the timing line, 42.7 last time by, becomes a 42.6. But that doesn't give him a position, as he needed to make up about half a second to the next car. Menino will cross the line, but doesn't find any improvement. So we turn our attention to Connor Bell in the number 21. And that one also looks like a bit of an outlap for him. So number of drivers here at the end having trouble trying to get that little bit faster, and they've only got about 20 seconds left.
Yeah, not a whole lot of time. Here comes Ferragiano coming across the line. That's not going to be an improvement for Chris. They're not seeing a whole lot of improvement from anybody out on track. DeTulio trying to make another run at it here. Track temperatures are 76 degrees out on the track, so not a whole lot I'd have to think about worrying about getting those tires heated up too much, that are overcooking them rather. Just a matter of that. Cal Quinn able to set the fastest time for him, and that'll be 9th.
Berger up to 6th as well that time by. So we look at Tony Costello, who sits in 14th. I think he, Palacio, and Menino are our last 3, but Costello's going to abandon his lap and come into pit lane. This is Palacio and my personal favorite, the old classic, the first GT3 car in the service, the McLaren MP412C.
Yeah, Joe, we always talk about how much we love seeing the flames spit out of the back of that McLaren. It's a very difficult car to drive, so I give a lot of kudos to Palacio for getting it right here. It's one of the few drivers remaining out on track. He's going to come across the line, currently sat down in 19th. We normally see Palacio do a little bit better than that, but apparently right now it's not coming, and that's going to be a marginally faster time, but it's not going to bump him up the order. But here comes Dave Menino.
Menino doesn't go quicker than Connor Bell. May just be our last one there from 13th. Is it anything faster? Yes, it is, a 41.9, but he doesn't take a spot, as Felipe Riquelme is also lacking in any improvement, unfortunately. Fishman is still out there. Now, is he on a hot lap? He's going to try and complete it regardless. Let's see. Yes, it is a hot lap. In fact, it's his quickest, a 41.7, will get him into 11th. That now officially is our last car to be able to set a time here today, with 23 of our drivers, rather, that are going to be taking part out there. So slightly bigger field, but it's also a much bigger track than what we just witnessed for the PRL GT4 AM series. These pro drivers we'll be hoping for a nice clean one out there, but considering the history of Tamburello at the starts of races, DJ, I wouldn't be surprised if it maybe caused a little bit of a kerfluffle, as you like to call it.
You stole my word away from me there, Joe. That's exactly what I was going to say. It is a very easy area to have that happen, specifically the way the track goes. They talk about it all the time, but what it is that you really have to be simultaneously applying the brakes and straightening the wheel at the same time. It's not a straight line into that first corner, and so that makes it very, very difficult. It makes it very easy to lock the brakes. If you lock the brakes, it makes it very easy to overshoot the corner, and if it overshoot the corner, it makes it very easy to run into someone.
Well, let's hope that nobody runs into our pole sitter, Alessandro DeTulio, with Modhoff starting next to him. David Holland will be from 3rd, as Jesse T. Stevens is 4th, Rubilar 5th, and Pedro Berger in P6. Then it's Dave Menino in the 7th position. Raditz will be 8th, and Cal Quinn 9th. J.R. Williams rounds out your top 10.
In 11th, it's going to be David Fishman, followed by Chris Ferragiano. Felipe Riquelme is going to be 13th, followed by Connor Bell. In row 8, it's Tony Costello, followed by Gonzalo Cortez, with Teddy Lowendick and Arnaud Genet in row 9. And behind them in row 10, it's Julio Palacio and Connor Wagner.
Then it's Rhines, the last one to set a lap. David and Yip, unfortunately, going to be starting at the back of the field here today. We've got a couple cameras to show us onboards during this race. We'll see how that goes, starting, of course, with the old crowd favorite, Teddy Lowendick. Let's see what he's just getting into his rig right now. Perfect timing. Why was the strawberry sad? Its parents were in a jam. Ha, 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 I get it this time there. Nice one there, Teddy, as we take a look at our next one. Raditz, who is going to be starting a little farther down the order and giving us a bit of a plain view behind him, but we are more interested in the driver than what's around him. And then finally, our pole sitter, going to give us a view. Alessandro Di Tullio, showing us his perspective. Boy, we got a number of drivers lately who are just racing in a white void, but I do like that he's repping the team, has his own team shirt on, so that is very cool to see when they get that sort of professionalism going.
Yeah, that's always pretty nice to have happen. You can see the onboard there, that display of the Huracan and all of the things that I'll see. Now, obviously, those numbers that pop up there, when you are in the sim, those will actually be working. They will tell you traction control numbers, fuel maps, those kind of things. But even if you look at it there, those numbers will read, but when we view them as a spectator, iRacing does not show those numbers because they do not want to give anybody a competitive advantage.
Okay, just a couple corners here at Imola before we get going. Modov, who took the win last round, is going to be starting next to Di Tullio, who is yet to win this season. How is this one going to go? Waiting patiently for the green flag, and there it is. Green flag is out for round 5 of the PRL GT3 Pro Series, with our championship leader nowhere to be found. And it is side by side as Holland gets a very good run for third place. Stevens to his outside with Pedro Berger watching from behind the pair of them. Are we going to be clean through this tricky chicane? Not completely. A little bit of a touch between Holland and Stevens there, but they get away with it behind him. Everybody is through.
I think Stevens there may have caught a little bit of bad exit curbing and caught the rear end of that BMW to snap out from under him, and he did a great job to keep everything under control. Kudos to this field. No real accidents there. Wow, Stevens almost held him to the back of David Holland. A big, big hornet's nest, though, as they come down into Tosa.
Even successfully through Villeneuve, which is an even scarier quick chicane. But the top two are starting to streak away. We're not even halfway through this lap. Di Tullio Modov ahead by a second and a half. It is David Holland who leads the train behind from third.
Yeah, and Holland has Stevens hot on his heels, really trying to keep up some pressure there. Ooh, could he maybe have a run going into the Variante Alta? That's a tricky place to do it. No, he's not going to be that aggressive quite yet. Everybody's staying relatively single file. You can see, as I talked about earlier on, everybody taking big chunks of those curves.
Only had one major off so far, and Ogenet had a slowdown penalty there at Aqua Minerale, I believe. Oh, and for some reason, James David, it is in pit lane. Did we have an incident that I missed? Double checking. And no, I think he simply didn't grid. So he is getting ready to exit now. Although our timing and scoring is showing him is on the same lap as the leaders, which is definitely not correct. So as they go by completing the first lap, Di Tullio ahead of Modov with Holland now 1.7 seconds back. Stevens hot on his heels.
Yeah, we're going to jump back to this secondary group with Holland, Stevens, Berger, and Rubilar there. Oh, but that's Rubilar going off, I believe. Or, excuse me, that was Berger going off, and Rubilar able to get by him now, so that's going to change the order around a little bit.
Just a tiny little mistake. So Rubilar, is here today. I did not see him on the sheet, so up to 5th, but he's got work to do. And up ahead of him, about 0.9 of a second to Stevens, who's probably more concerned with that Porsche number 18 in the third position through Paratalda and down into Aqua Minerale here. We ride on board with Holland, looking back at Stevens.
Oh, one of the biggest and hardest corners to be able to take, and you saw all of that speed that Jesse Stevens was able to take into the corner. Very good on him. Oh, I love this angle. You can see just how much the car is bouncing this way and that, taking those big sausage curves through Variante Alta.
Yeah, down into Ravazza now. I can report that my timing and scoring has finally corrected itself, and David is one lap down from the rest of the field, as he should be. So thankfully, it looks like we've got correct timing and scoring on that. Now, off of that final corner, speeding away, our leaders very close to one another. And now coming up towards one of the main places to overtake. Stevens has a good run. Can he make this stick? No. Holland is going to be able to rebuff him. No! Holland goes deep, and he goes off track now. Stevens able to get by. What about the likes of Rubelar? I think he's got the momentum. He's looking to the inside. Stevens a little bit slow in front of him, but he's not close enough that Rubelar can get a 2-for-1.
No, he's not, but Rubelar is up there. Takes a little bit more of that exit curbing as they come out of Villeneuve. They are now making their way up Tosa. This is just one massive train here. Stevens, Rubelar, Holland, Bergener, Menino, and Raditz. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost all the way back, I'd say, even to about 15th place.
Yeah, there are a lot of cars back there. So if you make one little mistake, you're going to get pounced upon by a number of drivers. And Aqua Minerale once again, all of them accordion together, but nobody able to make a move in that very tricky corner up to Alta, where sometimes you can see some sneak attacks, but as we heard DJ mentioning before, all of them just bounding over the curbs, taking as much as they can. And Rubelar is now sizing up Stevens as well.
Yes, he is. Is he going to have a look down into Ravazza? No, he's going to think better of it. And I have to say, for Rubelar, I think that's a good decision. He'll probably get a better run coming out of Ravazza, too, be able to make a good play going down the main straightaway. But he's got to worry about David Holland behind him, who also got a good run out of Ravazza, too. This could be a three-way battle again going down into Tamburello.
Slipstream looking powerful today as Rubelar has got a great run on the back of Stevens. That BMW has no answer for the Lambo, who is now into third place. Holland not able to do anything with it, but Rubelar up from fifth now, and he's got to play defensive as they come up to Villeneuve. This is tough to try and go too wide through there. Stevens knows it and pulls out.
Yes, he does. Whoa, and that's Stevens around. He got off into the kitty litter, hard into the tire barrier.
Oh, the car looks like it can roll, but he's going to get slotted essentially to the very back of the field with some severe damage on the nose of that Bimmer.
Yeah, and just watch this, Joe. He just takes a little bit too much. You can see that dust kick up, and bam! Hard right into the nose there. All of those cars streaming on by him.
Hopefully it wasn't too bad and he's able to at least keep decent pace, but I can't imagine he got away completely scot-free on that. We'll find out soon enough. Certainly has a lot of work to do as we ride on board with Stevens. You can see running in the 18th place. That means that Holland gets promoted back up to 4th, Berger to 5th, and Menino to 6th. A little bit of a correction there coming off the curbs of the Alta chicane. We look up at the Lambo of Nicholas Rubelar, our points leader.
Yeah, and Rubelar showing just why he is in the points. Now, his only problem is he's got a gap of about 3 seconds up the road to Karl Modoff and Alessandro Di Tullio. Di Tullio setting the fastest lap of the race. But I have to say, Joe, behind them, it looks like Menino and Berger may be into a little bit of a fight here. Menino running in that McLaren. I thought he may be able to get a bit of a run. Here we go. Going down in there, we get a good view of both the battle here for P5 and for P3.
Oh, but we've got a big mess happening back in the field around Fishman, unfortunately. And they're still sorting it out as they come off of Tamburello. Gonzalo Cortez to his inside that you see in the white machine. That BMW able to get through. Are they settled now? Love to see a replay. No, they're not. Bumps into the back of him. Fishman gets a piece of Cortez, and it looks like Lowendick is the one able to take advantage. It's still not done. They're side by side, too deep back there. Cortez on the inside rather, of Calquin as they come up to Piratella. Oh, 3 wide's not going to work, and it absolutely does not. The car that suffers the worst is the poor Jesse Stevens.
Looks like Costello got thrown off there as well, I think, a little bit. Yeah, let's go back and check out the replay here of this on Joe. You know, I've never driven Imola before, but I know going 3 wide through Piratella, not a good move. Oh, a little bit of the punt right there. We're gonna go back all the way and watch this from the beginning.
And this even started before this, but this is a good spot to watch because there you can see the touch that happens between them. The blue, white, and black. That is the car of Stevens there, suddenly getting involved. Saw what was happening in front of him, and then the side by side. Ooh, that is not easy to do up there. And Stevens coming to a halt out in the paved runoff.
And despite the fact that obviously ended in tears for Jesse Stevens, I have to say I'm very impressed with the fact that only one car had that happen, but we're going to keep our eyes here fixed. This is Lowendick, Fishman, Calquin, Cortez, and Wagner all just running in a line here. That battle has broken up a little bit from what we saw earlier where there was that massive multiple call train. Oh, that's Lowendick running right. Here he comes.
Fishman takes a look. Lowendick is able to successfully get through Tosa without giving it up, but now he has to go defensive as we watch the onboard. Looking pretty calm right now, but oh, and some ghost contact between himself and Fishman. Unfortunately, sends Fishman bouncing to the outside. He loses 2 positions instead of gaining 1.
Yeah, that looked a little bad there, but now Fishman is still going, or that's Calquin rather, now right up behind Teddy Lowendick. I thought he may have maybe tried to make a move going down into Alta, but nobody really wanted to be that aggressive on it. Woo, later on the brakes, though, does look to be Calquin. Big jumps over those curbs.
Yeah, that was Cortez who managed to take that one and get past Fishman down into Alta. Boy, Lowendick was in a jam himself there for a moment, but he's rebuffed them at least for the time being. Now Calquin and Wagner seeing if they could be the ones to try and overtake the 72.
Well, it's still all to play for. Imola really keeping everybody nice and tight here and very close across the board. It's some spectacular racing from all of these drivers.
Quinn is being hunted by Wagner. He's getting close. Wagner is going to look to the inside, but the BMW, or the Porsche rather, is able to get there. Didn't think he would. Oh, and it's not going to work out. Wagner has to take to the grass runoff out of Tamburello. Falls back to 16th. Oh, passing is a bit of a perilous practice here today.
It really is, and watch this move from Wagner. This is actually a defensive move to make sure he doesn't get hit. Takes a little bit too much of that curb, realizes he may run into the side of that car, and then has to go wide a little bit to make sure that he was okay. So that's going to cost him there. He's going to be back in 16th, but no damage to that car. He'll be able to continue to move his way forward.
Take your pick. I think all the drivers in this group have been in every position from front to back of this train since we took a look at this battle. But at the front of it, it remains Teddy Lowendick. A little bit farther ahead of them, you got another train. Raditz leads Williams, Ferragonio, and Bell. Let's see if we can get on board with Christian.
Let's see, indeed. There we go. Diving down into Ravazza 1. Very tricky to get right. You want to take just the right amount of runoff. There he goes. You don't want to clip that grass, and be careful not to take out too much of that AstroTurf as he comes around, handling that absolutely perfectly. You know, he is always just so calm, cool, and collected. Cool as a radish, as we like to say.
He's certainly got a mirror full of Porsche behind him. But the Lambo looks like he's got this one covered off. A lot of corrections there down into the braking zone. A little bit of the pill curbs, but he is cleanly through. Still Actually, not that far behind Menino. You could almost count Menino at the front of this train now, because I think he's gathered him up by a tenth or two since we first joined this.
Yeah, he's really starting to move his way forward. I don't know if that's an indication of the pace from behind or if Menino's maybe fallen off a little bit.
Menino started it in 7th, is up 1 spot, so he hasn't really changed much from where he began this race. Neither is Raditz, up 1 spot himself. As they all come down into Aqua Minerale. J.R. Williams giving watch from behind, the pair of them, along with Ferragonio and Bell. Nobody able to get much of an advantage out of that sequence of corners. Now up into Alta, towards one of the highest parts on the course, if not, I believe, the highest part on the circuit. Ooh, it was a bad exit from Raditz. I think Williams has got a good shot.
I certainly think he does too. Let's see if he can make it work going down into Ravatsa. That's going to be the inside, but that little kink there is going to hold him off. Is he going to be able to do it? No, he is not, but is that going to compromise exit for either driver? Williams not able to get it done here, but he's going to keep pushing.
Christian just chopping down with enough space on the inside that he didn't touch Williams. Surprised that Williams got away with that, and instead it's Ferragonio behind them, who is now looking like he might suffer an overtake, because Connor Bell, you can see him right on top of the rear of that BMW. Now he's beside the door of that BMW. And will he be past the BMW? Yes. Connor Bell gets himself into 9th.
Nice job there from Connor Bell making that move work. Just determination flying it on.
Next up the road, J.R. Williams, who's clearly focused forward, so maybe he could pull a surprise on him. Not missing anything up front, by the way. It's remained about 4 seconds between Tullio and Modov. He's, after the initial start of this race, has lost grounds on Alessandro, and then Rubilar is about 2 seconds back from Carl. So leaders are going to have to pick up the pace if they want to try and attack the car in front and make a race out of this one towards the end. We are getting close to the halfway point, so I wonder if we'll see anybody try and split this up halfway like we saw the GT4s do.
Well, as always, Joe, I really think in a series like this where you're not taking a whole lot of tires or anything like that, it's really going to come down to traffic management. Everybody's pretty much together out on track, so if you're able to get out behind a lot of people, avoid lap traffic, it may be a good idea to go for an undercut or potentially an overcut, depending on how it shakes out.
Menino still in front of them all in his McLaren. The Lamborghini of Christian Raditz, trying to gather him back up after he lost some time. Oh, we got a few takers. J.R. Williams and Connor Bell are both in.
All right, so there are your first two that are trying to figure it out to see if they can do it. Both of them coming in together, both Porsches. Now, I'm not sure if that's really going to have too much of an effect on anything. The one thing that it may do is it may be able to help them a little bit in a draft, but I also got to think if they're going to come out together, it could hurt them compared to somebody who comes out in some nice clean air.
Hunter Wagner also pitting a little bit early. We've gone back to Teddy Lowendick. The 72 on the screen, only 2/10 ahead of Horatio Cal Quinn. But they've pulled themselves a more comfortable gap away from Cortez, so they could be free to fight here if Horatio can find himself a decisive move. Nobody yet has been able to do that on Teddy, though.
No, Teddy's been doing a very good job of holding station here. I'm very impressed to see what he is able to do, not really allowing for anybody to get by him, even though Cal Quinn, who we've seen time and time again be a very, very experienced driver, just not able to get by that BMW whatsoever.
Making sure to keep the pressure on. Almost feel like this is the right way to go, though, with how many mistakes we've seen made on drivers attempting passes. Mistakes like that from Lowendick, who goes a little wide through the exit of Aqua Minerale, drifts back over. That was a little bit of a naughty move there.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a naughty move, just a little bit of a Pruitt fade. We'll call it nice and even. I don't think that was a full cars with advantage move, so just a little fun.
I'm imagining Cal Quinn inside the cockpit saying, always you must leave a space. But in the meantime, as they come onto the front stretch, maybe he'll get a little bit more space because he will have the slipstream. It looks like a decent exit. BMW versus BMW. Who's got the better run?
Well, let's see. I would normally say that it's going to go to Cal Quinn in the draft, but I'm not sure if that's going to be the case here. Certainly starting to close on Teddy. He's going to look to the outside of the first part of Tamburello. He's going to have to be late on the binders to do it. He's able to get up alongside, hold it in tight. No contact between the two. They're still going to be side by side, but it's going to switch back to Teddy Lowendick. Amazing defensive driving, and that's Fishman now making an attack on Cal Quinn.
That's Gonzalo Cortez actually in that white BMW, but he can't get side by side. Now, will we get another attack into Tosa amongst the three? No, they're going to stay put in line. Well, that I said it would need a decisive move. Unfortunately, it was not decisive, and that is why they needed it to happen quickly, because Cortez, who we ride on board with, and Fishman are right on top of them.
Yeah, they're very much on the back here. Oh, although a little bit of a wide run there from Fishman, I believe, in the back. Oh, here comes Cal Quinn again. Cal Quinn looks very, very strong through Agua Minerale. And Teddy Lowendick, again, not looking his best through there. This could be an attack. Is this going to be where Cal Quinn gets super aggressive? No, he's not going to make it through Variante Alta. That's a good call. Teddy running very wide on the exit there, but that allows him to carry some more momentum and maybe hold off Cal Quinn for a moment.
Ratio maybe get a better exit off of Ravazza 2 this time. He's right on top of him. He is not letting him go, but he has to make sure his momentum isn't interrupted at the apex in case Teddy parks it, which he does not. And this is an even better run. Oh, but Teddy's going to pit. He's going to try and get out of this mess and see if he can use the undercut.
Well, I think for Teddy, that's a very good call. You know, he looked like he was running a little bit ragged over those last 2 laps. And I've talked about a couple of times that making that pit stop can sometimes just reset your brain for a moment. And that can be very, very helpful.
Oh, but Teddy missed his pit stall. We didn't see it on screen, but Ted went a little far, so he's going to lose time in this pit sequence. As we continue to watch this fight, Cal Quinn now with clean air in front of him. Can he use this to maybe get rid of the 09 on his tail? A couple drivers just clipping some dirt on the exit of Villeneuve.
Yeah, they're trying to go there. It looks like nobody's going to really have the run quite yet, but as we've seen, you know, I'm very interested to watch here Cal Quinn when he's got some clear space in front of him through Agua Minerale. He looked so strong there when he was running behind Teddy Lowendick. Now that he's got it available, whoo, watch out.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that he would be able to do something with this. But Cortez looks like he is staying with the back of that BMW. But that Bimmer seems to be a pretty solidly mid-pack car, but not much more than that, because they've got about, gosh, it looks like 6 or 7 BMWs from 8th down to 14th here, but none above that.
Yeah, it's just a solid stream. The big leader here, the big winner as of right now, does look like it's Porsche with 2 Lamborghinis and two Lamborghinis and McLaren thrown into the top 6, or top 7 rather. A little bit of a wide run there for Cal Quinn. Nobody electing to go into the pits. Oh, although it looks like that may be Fishman coming in behind.
Yep, the 696 is going to follow suit. Lowendick, by the way, had a decent stop in the pit stall at 11 seconds, but cone to cone, 46, which is a little long compared to those who were ahead of him. That was from just barely going past his marks. Should still be able to get out ahead of Fishman, I imagine, though it might be a bit tight.
We'll have to see how that shakes out as we continue to watch this battle playing out on screen. Cortez just stalking Cal Quinn the best that he can.
As this has been happening, Modov has suddenly been caught by Rubelar. It's down to 0.2 of a second here. I can't tell if Modov maybe had a slowdown penalty. I'm not seeing anything on the previous lap, so maybe it had just happened on this lap. We'll try and check on that a little later, but in the meantime, the Porsche is suddenly being just overthrown by this Lamborghini who gets very tight to his rear bumper. Does Modov try to pit? Does Rubelar maybe try to pit and get underneath him that way? No, neither of them coming down onto the lane. But look at how Nick is just staying right in the tire tracks of that Porsche.
As Alessandro Di Tullio continues to press his advantage up front, but here comes Rubilar. He's going to make the move to what will be the outside of Tamburello. He's going to have to be late on the binders, almost onto the grass. Maybe now looking for the over-under. Crossback, able to get it. Ooh, not quite there. That's good defensive driving from Karl Modhoff.
Rubilar giving him something to think about, though, including up to Villeneuve, still showing himself to the left and to the right, just making sure that Karl has to think twice about things. This is going to hold up Karl even more as he's losing ground to Tullio, who is not in the championship hunt right now. He's all the way down in 15th, 87 points behind the leader, Rubilar. So really this battle is more between Karl and Nicholas, each wanting to finish ahead of the other, get as many bonus points as possible to keep the advantage coming late into the season. Out of Aqua Minerale, looks like Modhoff is pretty decently safe for now.
Yes, he is. And I have some bad news for fans of David Fishman. I think he picked up a pit speeding penalty. He was stationary in the box for about 38 seconds. It's dropped him well down the order into 20th.
Ooh, Connor Wagner, since Teddy Lowendick's pit stop, has caught up to him by a good amount. So Connor's looking pretty quick. And this is going to be interesting since they both started pretty far back in the pack. There you see them on screen going through Tosa. So it's not like they're out of position here, but it seems that Connor has got some legs underneath him as the the number panel is unfortunately placed for poor Dougie's camera today.
Yeah, not exactly the best one there, but you can see Wagner really starting to apply that pressure.
Rubilar just got the spot.
He did, through Tamburello.
Let's get the replay. This was around the outside. Brave stuff from the 18.
Very brave indeed. Now, this is the same move we tried to see him set up on the last lap, taking it as wide as possible. He got a little bit farther ahead this time and was just able to get to that second apex better and power off the line. That is a sheer gutsy move, and you see just how far he's running the car onto that AstroTurf, trying to carry as much momentum as possible, holds the line through Villeneuve, move Rubilar into that position.
If anybody had David Fishman in their fantasy draft picks, you're going to have a very frustrating day because he had an incident, smashed into the wall, and he's back in pit lane taking repairs. Not sure if he will return, but we once again see the lightning-quick Lamborghini Huracan of Nicholas Rubilar, 7.5 seconds behind Tullio. He has been charging his way forward. Is the 6 going to be quicker than the 20 now that he's got clear air? That's the big question. And does he have enough race left to do anything with it if he is?
Well, he's only got about 14.5 minutes, and the gap is holding at around 7 seconds or so. There's the lap comparison. As you can see, little bit of ebb and flow there back and forth, so it's not out of the realm of possibility, but I definitely think that he needs to clear Modhoff as quickly as possible, because as much Modhoff is pressuring Rubilar right now in the back, that's really preventing him from just driving the best lines that he can.
I agree. Meanwhile, Menino, Raditz, and Ferragono are all into pit lane taking scheduled stops, so many of the drivers will continue on by. I think they should be in a bit of a battle with Williams, should they not? Ooh, and side by side, exiting the pits between Menino and Raditz. In fact, the cars are inside of each other right now. There's just not much space here. They're eventually going to have to separate once they get some room. And once they're allowed to split apart, this is a bizarre looking creation here, but it looks like it is going to be Raditz who comes out ahead of Menino.
It looks a little bit like the Frankenclaren there or something. I'm not sure what that was, but there they came on out and they're able to keep racing. But what it is going to mean is this is going to be a fantastic battle for us out on track to be able to keep an eye on.
I was going to say, someone had stuck 2 cars into the transporter machine from the fly. But in the meantime, Williams has caught them after his pit stop, but they came out just ahead of him. And unfortunately, they are 2 cars instead of 1 that he has to overtake. So double the job for the 213.
Yeah, that's not going to make things easy for him, but I do have to say that it's still going to be a good battle here to watch out for. Coming down into Aqua Minerale, Raditz leading Menino, leading Williams. Ooh, very late on the break there for J.R. Williams in that Porsche, looking very strong. And I love the fact that this is a battle of 3 manufacturers that are there watching, but they've got to watch out. That's Ferragonio and Bell behind. We've got pitters up front, DeTulio, Holland, Rubilar, Rakime, Calquin, Cortez, and Costello all coming in.
Tulio easily out first amongst them. Rubilar following him along. Modoff and Berger stay out. No surprise with Carl. It's become almost a signature that he's able to go at least a lap longer than those around him. Wonder if there's a little bit left in the tank, no pun intended, and Carl could go quicker at the end of this race, since it seems that he was being caught before, but he was able to just run that little bit farther. There's Tutulio on the screen, returns in third, but should re-inherit the lead relatively easily.
Yeah, looks like it's about a 46 or second cone-to-cone delta. That doesn't include speeding up and slowing down. And Modoff only has about a 34-second advantage on Tutulio. So Tutulio should be able to come out in the lead.
Indeed, had about 7 seconds over those behind him, so should not be any sort of drama on that one.
Oh, Joe, we've got to go to this Menino Raditz-Williams battle. This is getting intense.
And Raditz barely holding off J.R. Williams coming down into Aqua Minerale, but it looks like Williams was put off by Chris Ferragonio behind him. And once again, nowhere near the apex. J.R. Williams kind of rattled at this stage. Connor Bell as well watching behind. Ferragonio shows his nose, sees if he could get something out of him that time. No dice.
No dice, but that's a very, very good run there, I think, for J.R. Williams and the Porsche coming up behind Menino's Lamborghini, or I've got that all wrong. It's Williams coming up behind Raditz in the Lamborghini. There we go. I finally got it right. Thought he was going to have a move going down into Ravazza. Couldn't exactly get it right there, but now here comes the draft battle. Could get very spicy once again.
And I can report that Rubilar did get out ahead of Modoff, but the gap between them hasn't changed. Let's stay here as they plunge towards the first corner, and Williams sizing up Raditz, has the inside open if he wants it. He breaks deeper. He's going to get the apex away, gives enough space to the likes of Williams. Oh, but Williams has to shove him aside, and Raditz going to lose multiple positions as they go 3 wide. That's Connor Bell looking for a twofer, and Ferragonio is desperately clinging to it. He had to check up, but he goes off track, and now he loses spots. The battle continues. Raditz looking around the outside of Bell, but Bell parks it on the apex.
What a heads-up piece of driving there from Connor Bell to really be able to keep that down, but I do not think that Christian Raditz is done quite yet. Maybe looking to an inside here on Piratella, not going to go for it, but stays right behind the gearbox of that Porsche. Is forced to run a little bit wide due to the dirty air coming down into Aqua Minerale. Probably not going to be able to make a pass here, but if he keeps on it, I don't think this battle's quite done.
Raditz nearly into the back of Bell there through Piratella. And that was some thrilling stuff from all drivers involved. It had to involve a little bit of contact, but elbows out, boys. Here, we've only got 8 minutes left on the clock. You're going to have to be aggressive if you want spots, it seems. I'm a little bit surprised. I noticed that we don't have any Ferraris here today, but I guess we at least have the Lambos to represent an Italian mark.
Yeah, indeed. The Ferraris seem to be a little bit more popular in the GT3 AM, but not so much here in the GT Pro.
This is Holland ahead of Pedro Berger. Holland's fallen down 1 position, Berger up 1. If they swap spots, it'll be each 2 in the opposite directions. And I do believe they are teammates, though, if I'm not mistaken. So I wonder if this won't be too big of a battle, and Pedro will let him hold on to this without a mistake.
We're going to keep our eyes up on the battle for P2 that has continued to develop here as Modov tries to chase down Nicholas Rubilar. This is getting very, very spicy here as they make their way up towards Piratella. That's a really good run for Modov. A lot of front end grip in that Porsche. The rear end not losing away as we would normally expect it to. Different line coming up through Agua Minerale there for both cars. I think that's just a reaction to the way both of those cars handle.
Modov is not going to be happy about this. He's going to give away more points to Nicholas. And considering he's already back by 46, and they're only going to have 5 more rounds to go after today, he's really got to start trying to make a serious dent into Nicholas Rubilar's points lead. So they come out of Ravazza 2. Oh, that was way wide from Modov, but he kept his foot in it. I don't think he lost as much as I would have feared there.
No, I don't think he did either. Modov gonna try to keep it up, but it looks like that gap is growing a little bit. He's not really gonna have the chance to go for a major assault here going down into Tamburello at the moment.
As the two of them weave their way through that first chicane. A little bit tidier this time for Karl Modov, multi-time champion here in the Precision Racing League, but not necessarily in the GT3 Pro Series. As they approach Tosa, Rubilar, credit to him, he's managed to get past him, and he's not letting Karl phase him so far. He's just got him at arm's length, unable to really attack that number 6.
Yeah, he's just holding him off just in the way that he needs to do. It's not super aggressive. It's not super crazy. It's just perfect defensive driving, Joe, and it's exactly how you, frankly, go home for a good championship.
We look at 9th place. Raditz, who we were watching before, still has Ferragonio on top of him. The 33 being chased by the 41. This is Lambo versus BMW. In the final 5 minutes, but Raditz starting to pull away slightly here through this portion of the lap. That Lambo looking quite planted. Let's see if Alta will get anything to Chris. A lot of curb. I don't think that helped him.
No, not so much. That gap is expanding out a little bit up to about 0.5 of a second. Raditz just trying to close him down the best that he can. Not really able to. 5 minutes to go here as we tick down closer. These gaps just seeming to ebb and flow between any of these good battles we've been seeing.
Yes, it's looking like a lot more drivers are a bit stuck. Now, oh, and Menino, did Berger? Oh no, excuse me, I was thinking of Holland. I thought he was in a battle with Berger. No, he's in a battle with J.R. Williams instead behind him. This is for the 6th spot. They're starting to get a bit of a train, too. That's Connor Bell. We were watching earlier, Raditz and Ferragonio, who are at the tail of it. Now, the distance between them is too far for any sort of attack right now, about 8 to 9 tenths between the majority of this group. But little mistakes can creep in, and you certainly don't want to give away anything at this late in the race.
No, you certainly don't. And the one good thing I will say for these drivers is the fact that with an only 81-degree track temperature, they really don't have to worry about super cooking their tires. So it can just be a little bit about just driving calm and collected, making sure you're not dipping too far off into that grass. We've seen that catch a couple of people out here today.
Speaking of which, I think we had at least one driver suffer a drive-through penalty. I see Gonzalo Cortez with an extra trip through the pits without stopping in his stall. I think the 09 maybe abused the edges of the track a little too much. He's actually our last one on the lead lap right now. As we continue to watch this group of 5 work their way down to Ravazza. And around 3.5 minutes left to go. Where are our leaders right now? He's heading through Tamburello. Let's watch and see how the fastest driver on track runs around here. DJ, why don't you talk us through?
All right, well, this is the Villeneuve chicane. It's a deceptive chicane. It starts fast and then gets a little bit slow. You've got to use all of that exit. Break down at the 50-meter board there and bring it around for Tosa. You want to take a very late apex there and take maximum exit curbing. Now you get a moment to breathe here for a second before you work your way up the hill for Piratella. Now this is a brush braking corner, a little bit of trail braking, get it there. You want to run the car just about to the edge of that AstroTurf before you set up for the Big Bear. This is Aqua Minerale. Light hit on the brakes before you straighten out the wheel, hard slam on the brakes, and then get back up and use all of that exit curbing. It is absolutely almost impossible to get perfectly right. Now we come up here, braking about the 75-meter board to get ready for Variante Alta. Take big chunks of those curves in these GT3 machines. They will take it. Now, another bit of respite. This is a curving straight as you work your way down the hill for Ravazza 1 and 2. Ravazza 1 is faster. Come in here, take a little bit of the interior curbing, get it all the way out to the dark Astro, take all of that inside curbing, and then there again, take it all the way out to the dark Astro. Don't get off into the gravel. Now you're on the quote-unquote straightaway. This bends and curves this way and that. You finally get to take a breather here as you line up. Now you've got to start getting ready for Tamburello. This is very similar to Agua Minerale. Watch how the track slightly curves away. You see that little flick that he does as he gets the car perfectly straight, get a little bit of the curbing, but not too much. There again, watch out for that sausage curve. Get it out onto the Astro, keep it straight, line it up for Villeneuve again, and that is a lap around Imola.
And he's only got, I believe, 2 more of those laps to go as he crossed the line this time. The 1.5 minutes left on the clock. 4 seconds handily in the pocket of DeTulio. Alex ready to get his first win of the season here in the GT3 Pro Series. Looking at him come through Piratella and back down into the valley of Aqua Minerale. Rubilar and Modov have not gotten away from one another, but Modov hasn't been able to get close enough to try and attack, so we haven't really missed anything with that one. If anything, Menino now finds J.R. Williams and Connor Bell getting a little scarily close to him.
Yeah, indeed. That McLaren just looking like it's struggling a little bit later on here as he tries to go. But keeping our eyes focused there on our leader as he's about to, I believe, take the white flag here.
Yes, he will. Just enough time. Cross with a few seconds left. Hopefully everybody put enough fuel in on this one. White flag waves for Alex DeTulio. And he's got a very comfortable lead. Well, you might want to take a look at Modov. He's gotten within the slipstream of Rubilar. How aggressive does he feel today to try and overtake his rival? Remember, he has to try and get some points on him as they come down into Tamburello. We keep the cameras on DeTulio, and it looks like Modov not able to try and attack and get beside him, but he's still tight behind that Lamborghini.
As we keep an eye here, Joe, for fans of J.R. Williams, he had a spin coming through Ravazza, and that's demoted him down to 10th place. But here is that battle we've been following. You saw just how much Modov was taking of the runoff, trying to kick that up. They come up here through Tosa. Looks like a good run for both cars. There's only a couple of more overtaking opportunities that Modov is going to have. He's going to have to try to maximize.
Absolutely. And as we watch them fly through Piratella, he's going to have to hope for a mistake. I think at this point, 0.3 of a second now between them. Rubilar's not been showing many of those. Oh, but it was a mistake from Modov, maybe. What happened there? I think maybe he just touched the grass or something. We'll have to try and maybe look into it a little later. In the meantime, that means the race for second is essentially over. And DeTulio, who we turn our attention to, has 2 corners to go. The first apex of Ravazza and the second apex. And then getting onto the throttle, that Porsche finally will see victory lane. It came in round 5 of the PRL GT3 Pro Series for Alessandro DeTulio.
An absolutely dominant drive from DeTulio. We barely watched him because there was nothing to do. Nicholas Rubilar coming across the line to take P2 in that Lamborghini, followed by Karl Modov, who just wasn't able to seal the deal to take that position.
Raditz in a close fight with Ferragonio, but Ferragonio slowed up, unfortunately, and Wagner had a spin in Alta just now. So, boy, the mistakes are all over the place in these last couple laps for our drivers. But at the podium, it is our championship leader still pulling away from all challengers as Teddy Lowendick, pat on the back for that 72, winding up in 13th, having gridded in 17th. That is one I'm sure he is going to be relatively proud of. But that is the last of our battles out there, and only 19 are on the lead lap. Let's go through the finishing order for today's race. It is going to be Alessandro Di Tullio winning it, with Nicholas Rubilar in second place. Karl Modoff finishes P3, followed by David Holland in fourth. Pedro Berger giving him a good run for his money in fifth, as Dave Menino was sixth, and Connor Bell from 14th to 7th. Christian Raditz was P8, then it's Ferragonio in 9th, and Williams in 10th. In
11th was Felipe Riquelme, followed by Horatio Calquin, with Teddy Lowendick, as we said, jumping up to 13th. Tony Costello was 14th, followed by Connor Wagner and Arnaud Genet. Raymond Yip was 17th, followed by Christopher Rines and Gonzalo Cortez. The last driver on the lead lap, Julio Palacio, finishing a lap down.
Yeah, and Fishman, Stevens, and David, unfortunately, DNFing today. And I believe up next, we have a couple interviews, so looking forward to talking to Di Tullio about this victory if he shows up. Also interested in finding out what happened with Karl Modoff mid-race that Rubilar was able to run him down. Looks like we've got our winner here ready to talk to us, Alessandro, with a pretty straightforward race. So let's pull him in and find out if it was straightforward for him. Alex, you had a little bit of a challenge from Karl early on, but once you were able to shake him, it seemed like you had pretty good control of things.
Hey guys, yeah, pretty happy with that result. And yeah, at the beginning, Karl was, he had a bit of pressure on me, and my focus was just to open a gap or hoping for a mistake from him, and try to build a gap, and then try to keep it that way for the rest of the race. And fortunately, it happened like that. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about it.
It's been a bit of a slow build, like this race was for you, starting with a DNF and then a poor finish in round 2. And then you started to get some decent, if not stellar results. And now only in round 5, a win. What kept you from coming out of the gate swinging, so to speak?
Yeah, the beginning of the season was really rough for me. I had no time. I had very little time to test for the races. So I was going into the races with very little practice. And yeah, this round I had some time, so I practiced a lot. I actually started making my own setups for the first time this week, and yeah, it turned out to be good, so I'm really happy about it.
About as good as you can get. Anybody you would like to thank for today's victory?
Yeah, I want to thank the whole team and its sponsors: Move Up, Freem USA, Race Factory, Unified for Kids, Get Stuck, Driven Texas, and Extreme Sim Racing. And also my parents that are probably watching.
All right, I hope they are. That's something to be proud of with a very clean run. Meanwhile, second place, an impressive charge up to take second. Nicholas Rubilar, DJs with him.
Well, Nicholas, I gotta start with that charge, man. Pit stops just looked like they came out to your advantage. Talk me through that.
Well, it was actually a super intense race. I'm having difficult to talk right now because my heart beats like boom, 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 super fast. But in general, yeah, I tried to like save a little bit on behind the guys when I was on the draft, and try to make my way as soon as possible through the field and charge a little bit less on the pit stop to make a sort of undercut. And thankfully worked really, really well and managed to get in front of Karl on the pit stop, and yeah, really happy with the result.
Well, I did want to ask you, it looked like you were under some pretty intense pressure there from Karl Modoff near the end of the race. How are you faring on that?
Well, I was firstly fighting with the track because this track is really hard to drive in, and upon that, I was having the pressure of cars. So there was so many things going through my mind during the race that I only tried to not make mistakes and just pull my race pace. But Carl was really fast behind me, and I expect like to not do any mistake because he's going to overtake.
Well, you held him off well, my friend. Anybody you'd like to thank for this very impressive second place here tonight?
Yeah, sure. I would like to thank everyone on my social medias that supports me every race and every activity as I do. My team, Punto.co, for supporting me, my sponsors, Thrustmaster and Next Level Racing, and you guys for holding the championships, as always.
Well, thank you very much, Nicholas. That was your second place finisher, Nicholas Rubilar. And now Joe Peak has caught up with your third place finisher, Carl Modoff.
Carl, it's a bit unfortunate for you today. You lost more points to our championship leader. But at first, it looked like you had something to make it a race for the lead with Alessandro, and then you dropped off and Nick started to catch you. What was the difference between the beginning and the middle of the race?
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, it's a tough track. It takes a certain amount of practice to kind of get up to speed, and then an extra amount of preparation to practice to kind of be able to run consistently around here. And I didn't just kind of have the time to be prepared 100% this week, which is really what happened there. Is just a lot of little mistakes, a second here or a second there, just due to kind of driving on the limit without the practice needed to be there every lap consistently. So overall, pretty good race to be able to finish third. I think I qualified out of position by putting it P2 and was able to hold on. I thought I had a shot at the end there to take second back from Nick, but I got to slow down through that first chicane, and that was pretty much all she wrote. But overall, great race. Sucks to lose a little bit of points to Nick, but it's better than finishing fourth or fifth. So look on the bright side, we still got some solid points. We'll just need to capitalize later in the season.
With next week being a bit of a draft track at Spa, do you think you have better chances of trying to pull one over on everybody else?
No, I mean, that's tough. I feel like with the strength of field we have here, it could, with a track like Spa, you end up running in a line and it comes into a strategy race. I mean, maybe you can get away out front if you're really on it, but the rest of the guys you fall into a pack and you start saving fuel if you can't get away and drive away from anybody. So might be a little bit of a strategy race for the first half, and then at the end of the race after the pit stop, we might see a little more racing next week. But Spa's a great track for these cars, and it should be a lot of fun, so looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on a podium, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you next week. That was Carl Modoff, third place finisher, and that's going to close us out. You saw our sponsors on the screen. A big thank you to them, as well as to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. There's her Bandcamp as well. And thank you to DJ, Sean, and Dougie. You can find more about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media that we've listed. Also, check out our merchandise store, simracingmerch.com/GSRC. Just click on the link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel because, as we said, next time we're going to Motorsport and Spa on July 12th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar. In a few moments' time, the Porsche Owners Club goes to Road Atlanta. That is at 10:45 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.